You just won $1 million in a lottery. What do you do? Are you the type to plan and strategize in secret, or are you the one who is happy to tell anyone who would be willing to listen? Some of us would be happy to be able to make that choice, while others would dread that experience. Whatever you choose to do, there is an outside effect, and this is the cause and effect. Now, let's bring the example to an everyday reality. You've just gotten home from a long day's work, and all you want to do is relax and unwind. However, once you get home, there are people and family to interact with, as well as home duties. As soon as you walk in the door, you are greeted with problems, questions, and burdens. At that moment, what do you do? Do you yell at the top of your lungs to be left alone, or do you calmly let everyone know to give you time to unwind? Again, whatever you choose has a ripple effect on the behavior of not only you, but the people you interact with. And let's consider this one last scenario. You're alone in your home, detached from friends, family, and colleagues. You happen to be going through a rough patch in your life where you've just lost your job and you don't know what to do next. You've chosen to remain isolated, where scrolling on social media or playing video games is your only outlet. However, you really haven't connected with anyone in a while. Even in a scenario like this, we think our actions are contained and personal. We think our isolated moments begin and end with us. But nothing we do exists in a vacuum. Every choice we make carries momentum. Every response we send has a reach. Even what we don't do, the pause, the silence, the avoidance, moves outward in ways we don't always see. We think we live our lives as if it unfolds inside a private bubble, but we're always in motion with others, whether we acknowledge it or not. And so, our behavior matters. Welcome. This is the Shift Your Perspective series where we discuss viewing everyday life from a different perspective. Today's topic, the ripple effects of our behavior. What we do and how we act creates energetic ripples long before it creates results. By the mere act of walking in a room, our presence can shift the tone of that room. How we react to a situation can change the whole direction of that moment. And when we withdraw our absence, it can be felt just as clearly as our presence. And so, what we do has positive and negative impacts. Now, we're familiar with some of the negative sides of our actions and the actions of others. We've seen how impatience spreads, how dishonesty erodes trust, and how unkindness can linger far longer than intended. We understand those negative effects of actions and our behavior, especially when they hurt us. However, we forget the same principle applies to the opposite direction. For every action, there is a response. For every cause, there is an effect. And this doesn't always happen immediately or is visible, but there's always motion. And when we act in good faith, that steadiness carries us further than we can ever imagine. Like when we give that helping hand to someone who thought they would never receive it. Or when we speak truthfully, how it invites clarity into the conversation. And when we choose love and kindness over defensiveness, it softens spaces we may never return to. So when we lead with genuine kindness, compassion, and honesty, it doesn't go unnoticed or lose power. Even if it wasn't acknowledged or rewarded, it moves through the current of life just like water. The ripples that are produced don't need witnesses to exist. They move through conversations we were not part of. They move through the moods we didn't intend to influence, and through environments and people that remember how they were treated. And often the effects return to us, not as replicas of what we gave, but as resonance and alignment. Because what we put out there in the form of our actions, emotions, thoughts, return to us. So every now and then we need to be reminded that we don't live in silos. We don't move alone. And every day we're shaping more than our own experience. So if you ever wonder and question if your action and behaviors matter, rephrase that thought instead to consider if you're aware of how far it can travel. When we continue choosing compassion, even when it isn't mirrored, we're not losing anything. We're setting something in motion. And ripples, given time, have a way of finding their way back to the source, often when we need it the most. Let these words help to shift your perspective, and I'll see you in the next shift.